We've got a lot of training to do for today's video, so let's kick right on into it. Let's start off by showing you what I have going on the ground. So on the ground here, you're gonna see that I've got some sticks here that are laid out in this V shape. We call this the reverse triangle. My feet, I'm standing right here at the apex of the triangle. In the beginning, we stand with our feet together just like this. This is for pure beginners. Otherwise, later on, you could be in a fighting stance and you can start your drills just like this, your footwork drills. We're gonna be working our footwork, working this. We're gonna work our 6 angles to step off of the center line. And then we're gonna incorporate some basic drills so you can start working your strikes with your footwork. So even though I have a reverse triangle on the ground here, we're not doing reverse triangle footwork today. We're gonna be doing what's called the ranging star or the ranging pattern, or also known as the ranging angles. And what this is the 6 lines that you can take to get off of the center line, or off of what we refer to as 0 degrees here at College Center. So I'm gonna start off very basic. Okay, you can start this in any fighting stance, anything, right? You're gonna use this across all the different weapon categories and empty hands of Kali. But for the very beginners, when I have brand new first day students, I just have them start off just like this. It's just a little bit easier as they're, building up your attributes, coordination, athleticism, all that stuff. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna work on these 6 angles. I'm gonna start off going left 45. My left foot is gonna step left 45. And we're not gonna go too crazy detailed, but you do wanna make sure that you are stacking that knee over the toes. You don't want any bow in or bow out, right? You wanna make sure that we are having good skeletal structure, skeletal integrity with our body. And then we're gonna bring it back, same thing going right 45, but with the right foot this time, okay? So this is our 45 degrees. We have left 45 and we have the right 45. You're gonna see when I go to the left, I'm stepping with the left foot. When I go to the right, I'm stepping with the right foot. That's what I'm initiating with. Then we have our 90-degree angles. I'm gonna take my left foot, step 90 degrees out to the left. You're gonna see how I turn this a little bit because these are ranging angles. So we're gonna be using these more at the long range game. And sometimes you're gonna use these as you're kind of closing into the quartal game as well. We're gonna turn this out. We don't want this foot to be, our toes pointed forward here because we can hit divots in the ground, take a bad step, you can end up blowing your ankle or blowing your knee out. So you wanna make sure that you're turning that foot with it so it's very, very dynamic in your movement. Bring it back to the center. So same thing going to the right. Right foot's gonna step out 90 degrees to the right, turning the toes. But you wanna keep your vision on your opponent who's at the center, okay? Then bring it back. Then we're gonna step 135 degrees back to the left, initiating with the left leg and pulling the lead leg back. Because we're moving away from our opponent, we don't want to leave our leg out there where it's a vulnerable target. So we're gonna pull it back with us because we're gaining range from our opponent, right? And then we're gonna step back into the center, same thing, 135 degrees to the right with the right foot initiating and then pulling that left leg back, okay? And then bring it back. And just real quick with the drill, you're just gonna cycle through that. So left 45, right 45, 90 to the left, 90 to the right, reverse it to the left, and then reverse it to the right. Now, when you're training this at home, or if you're in class, or you're conducting a Kali class, and you're warming up with this footwork, make sure that once your students, or once you have the coordination down, that you start pushing the training here, okay? You gotta start being a little bit more explosive and challenging your footwork and your navigation on the terrain, okay? Don't just go nice and easy the whole time. You should be getting your heart rate up, and when you're working this for 2 to 5 minutes as a warm-up, maybe even getting a little bit of a sweat on. Once you've isolated the footwork, let's go ahead and grab our weapon, grab our stick. If you have a training bolo, feel free to use that as well. We got 2 drills for you. Very, very simple here. We're just starting to get the striking moving with the footwork. Very important that we can calibrate these 2 here. Okay, but we're just gonna work our angle 1 and our angle 2. We're gonna keep it very simple. Know that once you have that, then you can start exploring with different weapon striking combinations of your own, right? You can start working horizontals and verticals, coming into your ascending strikes, your thrusts. Feel free to play around with it. Just get these basics down first and then go and explore in your training. So we're gonna step out as we strike the angle 1, and I'm striking right at the center, right at where my opponent would be. Then I'm gonna return on the angle 2. So I'm stepping on the angle 1 and I'm returning on the angle 2. And I'm gonna do that on all of the angles here, all the footwork angles. Now notice, again, I'm striking right to the center, right to where my opponent would be. I'm not striking over here, okay? I'm not striking over here. I'm not turning 90 degrees and striking. This is not a multiple opponent drill. This is a single opponent here. I'm striking to the center and return. To the center, return. To the center, return. To the center, return. To the center, return. And to the center and return, okay? And you're just gonna work this and rep this out. Just set the timer for 2, 3, 5 minutes, whatever you got time for, whatever you have the endurance for at this time in your training, okay? And just get your reps in. For our second striking drill with the footwork, the ranging footwork, we're gonna flip the strikes. We're gonna start on the angle 2. We're gonna step out as we strike that angle 2, again, going right where the opponent would be, and then return on the 1 this time. Step out on the angle 2, return on the 1. On the 90s, and on the 135s, or reverse angles. So again, 2 to 1 on the 45s, out on the 2, back to center on the 1, also on the 90s, and on your reverse 135s. Kali is one complete system for all weapon categories. That includes the empty hands. The empty hands, we turn these into weapons in the Kali mentality. So feel free to explore these same drills with your knife and other different weapon categories, and even in your empty hands.